Welcome to Guelph Fight Wrestler. I am Andrew Sennedra, and this is Captain the Powerpuff Girl, Witch Fingers. And today we're talking about World's End and our thoughts on this pay-per-view that just went down. So let's dive into the first match. We weren't too blown away by the card on this one. There wasn't too much to go on, but the first match was a bit of a random 8-way with Jay White, Jay Lethal, Brody King, some other guy named Roosh. Versus Claudio, Danielson, Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia.
There were some funny moments in this match, like where Roosh, trips over Mark Briscoe.
Oh, yeah?
It was like, I thought you noticed that? It's like, there's a dead body. He's like, yeah.
He's trying to get around the ring. He's like, what the hell? Get out of the way, Briscoe.
And then Brody Lee's like yelling at Danny Magic, and then he beats him up after the match.
Oh, Brody King.
Oh, yeah,
you said Brody Lee yesterday. I was like, what do you do? Come back from the dead and knocking guys out? But yeah, it was an okay match. Definitely, I think some guys kind of, I want to say did most of the stuff in the match to make it interesting, like Jay White. Poor Jay Lethal, got beat up the most and also took the pin. So he not only didn't win a single match in the Continental Classic, he also, out of 8 people, takes the pin in this match. It's like, man, he really got sort of screwed over in that whole thing. But I thought a bit of a rivalry that's kind of brewing, or something that they're able to do is set up a storyline between Brody King and Daniel Garcia. So you have a bit of segue from the tournament to this to in the future with that. I thought is kind of good way to carry that over.
Yeah, on the plus side, Garcia only got 1 win on the tournament, and then now he actually got the win here, which I thought was surprising because so many big names, and then I'm like, oh, Garcia got the win. Okay, kudos to him.
Yeah, so you had a decent opener with that one, but kind of random at the same time. Yeah, same with this next one. It's kind of was building, but also kind of like, not really too much behind it. It was Miro versus Andrade, in that one.
One thing I thought was really funny is Miro made a funny noise, rewind it several times, like it's a bird noise. I'm like, oh, I think the dragon screw, caught a bit of his yam bags. He's like, ah.
I was like, who's that weird noise? I was like, I had to go back and see, the hell is that weird noise from Miro?
And poor Taz, everybody kept attacking his table. Miro went over his table. Taz lost some beverages. He's like, yeah, can't have that fixing his table.
Yeah, and I thought there was, I guess there was some kind of good stuff in there, classic Andrade and Miro, but nothing really over the top. Miro taking a few brutal shots into he really moved those stairs when he flew into them, though. He took 2 times into that. Stair shots or whatever you want to call them, but there was a big stiff back kick, I thought, from Miro that looked pretty good. His good kicks, but overall in the end, you had the dirty cheating hoe screwing Andrade over. His contract's up, so she's like, "Screw you, it's over."
One thing I thought was funny, I think you pointed out, was Miro yelling oh, motherfucker during the match, and then I'm thinking, you mean wife fucker?
Oh. Dirty bastard! You screw my wife, Andrade. Is that what you're doing? Fuck you up. Anyways, this is an okay match, but so nothing really too much to go on right now. And then the next match was out of nowhere, and originally Swerve Strickland versus Keith Lee originally kind of came out of nowhere, and then Dustin Rhodes comes out of nowhere to replace Keith Lee due to injury. So that was another kind of random, very unexpected thing to kind of happen, and that not really too much in that match either, but what could we really expect from it, I guess? I
think maybe that's why they did it the way they did with the curb stomp on his legs to fake the injury, because didn't have time to prepare for a great match. So then they hobble Dustin where he's like, I can't really do that much.
Yeah. So
it was an alright match. It was a pretty good match for the old geezer. He's 65 kind of thing. So it's good on him for a last minute fill in kind of thing.
And Swerve really decimated him throughout the match, making him seem like more of a villain, more badass in that one. But they're not really going to get too much out of that one either. I guess.
It's interesting we saw the Crossroads in there, you know, homage to Cody.
Homage to his younger brother.
You're expecting fans to start booing.
Well, I thought they did start booing. Like, screw that! What are you doing, Cody? Stupid move. Screw him. But the next match was kind of late as well and unexpected. But I think that's because Kenny got diverticulitis, so they kind of put something together like that with Darby, Sting, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara versus Starks, Big Bill, Konosuke Takeshita, and Will Hobbs. That kind of, I think, felt last minute as well.
It's interesting to see how the rivalries like carry on. How like Starks and Hobbs, they still have like the animosity from like the falling out.
Yeah, and that was what, like a year or two ago. It seemed like they kept that.
And it's funny, like I think you mentioned that they weren't tagging Starks, you know, but Hobbs and Bill were keep tagging. And he's just like chilling outside. He's like, oh, well, why am I even here?
He's like, oh yeah, I'll go, screw you, I'm going away. Oh, you're done.
Yeah, I thought you were going to jump in.
1, 2, 3. But I definitely had there's some really good moments, I thought. Huge Takeshita bomb off the top turnbuckle. Sammy sent him flying. That was the vicious German suplex on Darby where he just kind of let him go and he went flying. And he did Konosuke did a double German or grabbing Darby, who was grabbing Sammy, and tossed them as well. I thought was really good. I think really, to me, Takeshita had like the best stuff of the match than maybe Darby. But those two were, I think, really did the best, most memorable things throughout the match. And but Sting, like that guy's always thinking, his so much experience lets him know he's thinking 2-3 moves ahead. Konosuke's anticipating clothesline, and he's like, I know he's anticipating clothesline, and I know he will duck, so he's thinking like 2 chest moves ahead. So he kicks. Konosuke's trying to duck the clothesline. It was brilliant. It was like Sting's like the man. He's no-sell shit. He's anticipating 2-3 moves ahead. This old dude, he's like knows everything. He's like, fuck you. You're going down, and now you're taking a kick to the teeth.
I think Sting's the MVP for that match, for his genius of mind.
And then the Big Bill was no-selling. That was kind of funny when Jericho's trying to hit him. Big Bill's just like, what the hell? He's like, screw you. Okay. Well, I guess there was kind of some humorous moments in that.
Yeah. Does the code breaker? Once again, Big Bill's like, no-sell.
Yeah, Big Bill's no-selling the code breaker as well. He's just like, screw Jericho. I'm no-selling all of this shit. So that was an okay match in there. The Julia Hart Abaddon match was a, out of the women's matches, I thought that was the best out of the 3. I definitely think that one. Besides the kind of strange ending on the moonsault where Julia Hart landed on her feet, and then Excalibur's like, oh, I think she did like a moonsault into like double knees. So that one was a bit strange, but overall I thought that was probably the best match out of the women's matches.
Yeah. I think that the ending caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, what is that? She landed on her feet. Let's do a double take on that. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it kind of spoils it a little bit for them, but overall, not too bad. Especially since Abaddon's, got to bite people.
That was a cool stipulation. It's like, oh, I can bite.
Yeah, worked out pretty good for her. The next match, I think, exceeded my expectations. Copeland versus Christian Cage. I was kind of like, we might get something, kind of traditional and normal from them or something. I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be fantastic, but it definitely exceeded my expectations. A lot of what Copeland did was a lot of what I didn't expect, and especially a head stomp. I think that seemed pretty real because it busted open his eyebrow. It looked like that's where it did. I was like, oh, he really stomped on his head pretty good there. That's pretty rough. But, you just had some high-flying Adam Copeland. I already mentioned the mean head stomp. That was pretty nasty. Pretty big spear in there as well from somebody.
Yeah, I think that was funny where, like, they're interacting with the commentator where, like, Nigel's going to insult him. And he tells Nigel, shut the hell up. Nigel's like, oh, okay.
Everyone was telling everybody, shut the fuck up, or you motherfucker. I was like, holy crap. There's a lot of F-bombs on this pay-per-view.
This pay-per-view is world's end. These guys are pissed off.
Yeah, they were going ham on each other. I also liked, Nick Wayne did something with a title belt I've never seen. They always try to, clip the guy, and he, jumps and, dunks it on Copeland's head. He's like, whoa! It was like right on top of his head, like some sort of like back elbow. I was like, oh, that was pretty good.
He used it like a chair shot, you know. He really bonked out on that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. And that table spot at the end. You know, he's like, Copeland's like, I'm lighting this on fire, except I'm just gonna throw you right over the fucking table. I was like, oh man, Nick Wayne, he took like a bad tumble on that.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. We're like, you know, Christian and Wayne, you know, they're like lighting on fire. They're spending so much time putting so much, you know, gasoline all over, and then all of a sudden the thing goes on fire, and then like 2 seconds later, it's like the fire's gone. I'm like, oh, where did the fire go? I'm like, is this a different table?
It was like that damn lighter fluid. It burns up so fast. So he's like, oh, I gotta hurry up and get this guy through the table. Oops, I tossed him too bloody far.
Copeland was pissed. He's like, oh, I can do everything myself. Oh! He was like raging hard.
Too much rage led to too much distance on the power bomb. But
one thing I was a bit surprised. I thought it would be more cheating involved because there was like no disqualification. So technically, it could be like a 2-on-1 like the whole time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, Nick Wayne was like, you know, hanging around outside the whole match and then cheat a little bit here and there kind of thing.
Didn't do too much. I thought the ending was kind of interesting though. You know, Luchasaurus, you know, since he won that battle royal or whatever at the beginning, and comes and clobbers Copeland, and then gives his win or whatever, or the contract to Christian, and then he wins the belt back right afterwards. It's like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, and you called that too, so yeah, good on you on that prediction.
Well, I just thought like, you know, that Christian was gonna keep the title, but then he lost. But then they were, and when Luchasaurus or Killswitch won, I was like, oh, this is how Christian's gonna get the damn belt back. So Copeland saves face by winning the match. But Christian gets to hold on the title, so I kind of thought I kind of sensed that they were going to try to do maybe something like that to extend this rivalry a little ways and add a little nuances. But that's just kind of, you know, maybe a way they did that.
Yeah, I think it was a clever little plot twist they did kind of thing. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, the next match I thought was. This one might have exceeded my expectations too a little bit. Is Eddie Kingston versus Mox. Or Moxley. But it was a pretty good one, I thought, overall. I think finally Eddie Kingston got everything that he's worked so hard to achieve with all the different rivalries and everything he's built. He's finally getting some of that damn recognition. You know, he's got a lot of fans and things like that, so it was like, you know, why is he not finally getting? Well, now he is.
Yeah, I think it was a good, hard-fought match. I thought it was funny where like they're slapping the hell out of each other like super hard. And then a couple of times I feel like, you know, it's like for real, where Mox like, give me a minute, give me a second, you know, you got me the areola or something.
Yeah, Kingston laid definitely some really hard ones, like Japanese style on.
Yeah, because like a lot of them you like hear the mega slaps, and then one of them I remember it was like you just heard like a thud. I was like, oh, and Ty's like, oh, he missed the prime spot.
And he just like nailed the rib cage or the ribs.
He's like, oh,
instead of the slapping noise. But right off the bat, like, or maybe not right off the bat, but kind of early on, Kingston had that dive where he like kind of didn't really hit Mox and like landed on his shoulder, and you could see that divot in his shoulder. I don't know, it might have separated it a bit, but he definitely was favoring that. They kept saying his head and his neck, but I think his shoulder was kind of dinged up from landing on that dive outside.
Yeah, but he made a decent recovery where like he didn't really favor. He got back in the ring, and then, you know, I think shortly after he started throwing around. Like, okay, so maybe he's fine.
Yeah, well, I could definitely see, because I had my shoulder separated, and sometimes you couldn't get it up so high, and then that's why I have that click. But anyways, yeah, it was a good slap fest, a bit of an MMA style match.
Yeah,
they were striking, and then the grappling, going for submissions and stuff like that. The slaps, well, and even I was like, you know, throwing some. References to the slaps being like Shane Burgos delays type style, and they're hitting each other and then it's like delayed, and then Kingston like throwing moves and, you know, he delayed, and they're like delayed reaction from everybody. It just reminds me of Shane Burgos getting KO'd in a fight where it took like 10 seconds to kick in. It was weird, but I called that the Burgos delay.
Yeah, I like the interesting twist with the MMA style where like I saw like, like stomach punches.
Yeah.
Or like they're going for like a leg kick and they go for like a takedown.
Yeah, he was actually using like inside and outside leg kicks.
Yeah.
And Mox using blocks, like checking things. He was going to the school of Chris Weidman. He's like, I gotta check those shots. Gotta check them.
It worked, Darnell broke Kingston's arm when he blocked him with his elbows.
Yeah, they were using a lot of like kind of things that were MMA style. So that was kind of a good, fresh twist into the wrestling world, I thought, a bit. Now we're moving on to the main event, MJF versus Samoa Joe. Not much to say. MJF really just kind of like punched and ran into Joe and like knocked him in, and he kept trying his damn kangaroo kick, and he didn't really, there wasn't really too much there. I thought Joe was the one who really did, everything in the match. Death Valley Driver, Muscle Buster on the apron. It was mostly that, so it was a bit of an underwhelming match, I thought. Yeah,
there's one funny comedic moment where, like, he can't just heal the cat, but then, he's got this Ultimate Warrior moment where he's getting a burst of energy. He's like, oh, I can do it now! And then he just halfway, and then Joe, like, kicks him in the face. And he goes flying out. He's like, oh, I'm dead again.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, you're kind of like, there wasn't really not too much to that. And then the ending, the reveal of the devil, we both pretty much had plotted out, except for Wardlow. You said...
I called Wardlow.
Yeah, might join because of all of his animosity and past rivalry with MJF. So that really does make sense. And I think overall, it makes the most sense that those guys do... that was the turn. I know people might be like, well, it was too predictable, but it's like nothing else makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, would it make sense if it was like Jungle Boy and the Young Bucks? Make sense if it was, Private Party and Matt Hardy, like, or Jay White and the Bullet Club. Like, who did you want?
Yeah, like at first we're thinking like Cole, but then we're thinking it's too predictable, so we played around with other names. But in the end, I think we came back to like, this makes the most sense, this Cole, those purple guys, and then like, and then Wardlow, because like Wardlow like hates him, right? So I was thinking everybody that hates MJF, this would be like a anti-MJF faction kind of thing.
Yeah, Wardlow I guess is the bit of the unpredictable twist, but overall I'm like, it's the only thing that makes sense. So if people are saying it's too predictable, or was, you're kind of like, well, nothing else makes any damn sense though. I'm
just wondering, like, for Roderick Strong, is he going to keep that comedic thing? Because, like, there seems like a serious faction. Is he going to still be like, Adam!
He might. Yeah, maybe that's how he, like, gets him to tag him in. Or something like that. You never know. And then, you still have to have Kyle O'Reilly come back.
Yeah.
Maybe is he gonna slide into the faction as well? But it's just the thing that makes most sense. You can't complain because nothing else would have made any fucking sense. So either way, they'd bitch. Anyways, we're gonna jump on to our whatever the hell we call it.
Grading system.
Our grading system. I was gonna call it a scale. Or a sliding scale. It did kind of slide all the way down, didn't it? But it goes from good, great, good, great, awesome, amazing, spectacular, and fantastic.
I'm gonna have to say this is great. Like, I think they made some right calls where, like, I think they finally gave Kingston the win I think he deserves, so I think that was good.
Yeah.
And then like some of the clever twists like in the Christian one, so I'd say great.
Oh, I was gonna go good. Just because I was like, there was nothing really kind of jumped out and blew me away. Like some of the other pay-per-views were like, oh, at least Omega had a really great match, or the Bucks and the Lucha Bros had a really great match, something that just kind of boosted up another shot. But so this one was kind of, low. We've been kind of going up and down. We had like Wrestle Dream, and
Wrestle Dream was good.
And then we come down for Full Gear and stuff. But anyways, that's our thoughts. Tell us your thoughts in the whatever the hell you call that down below, the comments. Yeah, the nerdy ass comments down below. And until next time, folks, how about some heavy wrestling?